Strong winds at St. Catherine's Oratory. I was on holiday in the island of Wight and I thought it's not been too windy, it's been a bit breezy at about 28 to 32 kilometres an hour winds. Um, I was registering, I had one of these handheld wind devices, so I thought I'll go up the hill at St. Catherine's or St. Catherine's Hill. It's like something to view in my drone. And the winds there, I was measuring my handheld device, was about 42 to 38 kilometres an hour average wind speed up there at about 239 metres. Thought, it wouldn't be too bad, I could fly this. It was actually a little bit more windy, a little bit higher than that for my drone. So the Oratory is supposed to be like a lighthouse, or to give a kind of signal. In many years ago, a few hundred years ago, supposed to be maintained by a priest, and it was supposed to be attached, I think, to a church at one point, but that obviously slightly was demolished at some point. So it's quite windy up here. I decided to take my drone off, take it up. Some people came up, so when I was just taking off here. It's actually quite a bit of sun when it was sunny. Drone's moving quite a bit around. I think people trying to cover their heads because it's so windy, all the hair's being blown away. Getting strong wind warnings. Trying to move the drone to a position that's good. So I'm flying into the wind here. It's in sports mode. It's really not moving very quickly there. Drifting slightly as well. So I'm just going to go forward here. It's quite strong winds, down to about 6 kilometres an hour. Strong wind warnings. You can just see the shadows of the clouds moving quite rapidly over. I think there's people getting blown around. You can take photos, but as I say, I wouldn't recommend losing connection, as I don't think the drone would return to home in winds of averaging over 50 kilometres an hour. But so I've decided to change to C mode, which is cinematic mode, just to make it a little bit easier to move around, more controlled in the strong wind. It actually flies fairly well doing this mode, considering you've got 50 kilometres, 30 mile an hour winds just flying above. You can see the drones bouncing around quite a bit here. now it's moving into the wind. Here sideways, it's starting to struggle. Not doing too badly. They're really strong wind conditions. One of the disadvantages perhaps of having this Mini 3 Pro is its small size and lightness. If it had the heavier like Air 3 or Maverick, they're more stable in strong winds, so they wouldn't be bouncing around like the Mini 3 does here. Sometimes you can see the movement. Flying into the wind again. Comparing to the Mini 3 Pro, DJI's Maverick 3 and the Air 3 have a higher top speed of 21 meters per second, and a higher wind resistance of 12 meters a second from the 10 meters a second. So there's quite a bit of advantage there. I decided to do a panorama of just to see, but as I find out, it doesn't really. It starts, but it's not able to do anything really, or complete any of the panoramas. It's just too windy. It's also quite noisy in the strong wind. So again, I move forward into the wind. Doesn't make much difference which mode you are in, sports mode, or just means that you'll try to go at the full speed. That's why I lowered it to cine mode. Really quite breezy. You can see the shadows are moving quite quickly over the ground there. So it's really struggling in these 30-mile-an-hour winds. Winds up to 35. Having an Air 3 with its telephoto lens might be a good advantage in these conditions, even though it's heavier, and weight gives it more stability in strong winds. The telephoto would allow you to get closer in on this point of interest, and therefore not get too close to any people around there. So try another panorama. Started and then stops without completing. Just keeps on. This is what happens, is it just stops, and you might not return to home as well. So you could, if you lost connection, you might just hover there. I don't know. And I decided to call it with getting low on battery. It's using up the battery quite quickly, so I'll head back. It's a little bit tricky trying to manoeuvre the drone because it keeps on drifting a bit as you turn. So I decided to use the hillside there as a little shield from the wind. Bring it in. It is quite windy. Touchdown. That ends off very windy flight. Taking a bit of shelter behind the Oratory. It's actually fairly mild, 19 degrees, 17 degrees. Wasn't that cold, but very windy. So the weather data we got here is from the Air Data UAV flight data analysis. So we got our flights on the date, and as you can see, this is sort of like ground level. This is the winds. So the average wind speed that I was getting when with the drone was 50.8 kilometers an hour, with gusts of 57.2. So you can see here that the winds these are all the readings that are measured in the algorithm that they use on this website. So you can see that the winds 57.2, 8 minutes 25 of the flight. So it's pretty, all the readings are pretty strong. As you can see here, all the readings varying. So 49, 56 kilometers an hour. So it's quite way above the maximum on the actual scale here. And remember, the drone is certified for 10.7 meters per second, or 38.5 meters per hour, kilometers per hour, which is 22.4 miles per hour. So the readings in meters per second, again, you can see it's all above 10 meters per second. So, and some headed 15 meters per second. So the sports mode of the Mini 3 Pro is 16 meters a second, although it can go a bit faster than that. That's 16 meters, or 57 kilometers per hour is the maximum speed in sports mode officially. So in kilometers, 30 miles per hour, 31.6 miles per hour, and 35.5 miles per hour gust. And we got miles per hour here. We've got 35.5 miles per hour at 8 minutes 25 seconds, where we had the highest wind reading, gust. And in meters a second, average speed was 14.1 meters per second and 15.9 meters per second. So that's quite windy.